Hello and welcome to the Calmcast, a time to feel calm and think clearly. I'm Claire Downham, the Queen of Calm, a transformational life coach. I was a burnt out head teacher who finally made the journey to calm after years of trying, and I want to prevent you from having to do the same. The Calmcast is a series of short explorations, gently guiding you back to your natural state, which is calm and clarity. Just listen like you would listen to music, with an open mind and curiosity. There's nothing else to do. Now let's relax into today's episode. So, this episode may sound bold, but I am telling you that de-stressing tips don't work. I see them a bit like a slimming club, and trust me, I know a bit about slimming clubs because I was in and out of them. I think I worked it out once that it was over 20 years. I started my first slimming club journey when I was about 17, and it was my early 40s before I gave it all up because I realised that it didn't work. Now, the illusion of slimming clubs works a bit like this. When you are at the slimming club, doing the thing, following the diet, going along, getting weighed, having the meetings, blah, 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 you lose weight. You know, a lot of people lose weight, and some people don't actually, but a lot of people do lose weight when they're at slimming clubs. The problem is that because it doesn't address the underlying issue, which is, like all human suffering, caused by a misunderstanding that food can make us feel better. And so we eat things that are not particularly good for us because we misunderstand where our feelings are coming from. Because that's not addressed at the slimming club, once you're not going, you stop losing weight. You put it back on, and actually the studies show that you probably put more back on than you lost in the first place. I spoke to a woman once and she had me in stitches because she said she'd paid £60 for every pound of weight that she'd lost over a period of time because she'd put it on and off so many times. That had cost her 60 quid per pound that she'd lost. And that is really a telltale sign of that. This is a perfect analogy for those de-stressing tips because they work while you're doing them. But they don't work to change your relationship with stress. They don't work to change your perspective, change your mindset in the long term. They don't do any of that. They just kind of manage it in the moment. And where this falls down often for a lot of people is that somebody's told you how to feel better in the moment, how to de-stress. But then, of course, in the moment when you're stressed, your head is so full that you can't remember the thing you were supposed to do anyway. And that increases stress while you search through your head to try and find the reason, try and find the thing somebody told you was going to be helpful. And that makes your head even more busy, makes you feel terrible about yourself for forgetting, and then you feel even more stressed. So it really doesn't work. Now, what's much more helpful is really I want you to understand why de-stressing tips don't work and what's the better alternative. The better alternative is not to be, taking on lists and lists of de-stressing tips. The better thing to do is to understand stress and understand how you work, how your psycho-spiritual system works, so that you can actually navigate through life just in the same way as when we have the instructions for anything. It works better when you're learning to drive and you first get in a car. It's mind-blowing, isn't it? It's too much to think about. But after a period of time, you understand better how the car works, and then you can navigate your way through life, even on busy roads. And even when there's accidents, you can avoid them, and people pull out in front of you and manage to stop, and all these things you can do once you have a really good understanding of how driving works as a thing. So I'm going to go why not? I'm going to go deep here. At the essence of who you are is an aliveness, an essence of innate well-being. Calm is at the essence of who you are. It's when you look out into nature and you see, at the moment it's dark and it's cold and the ground's sometimes frozen, but underneath there, waiting to emerge, are the daffodil bulbs and the snowdrop bulbs and all the other things that are going to sprout alive. Even within the energy of the tree, the buds are, the energy of those buds is there already, waiting to emerge. It's not gone away. The tree's not dead. The tree looks dead right now, but it's not dead. This is all if you're in the northern hemisphere, of course. If you're the opposite side of the world, your world is very different at the moment, but of course you have a similar experience in the winter. Now that aliveness is running through you too. That essence of calm is inside you. You're born with it. We all are. It doesn't get taken away. It cannot be stolen from you. You cannot have it traumatized out of you. But what does happen is you learn to think. So at your essence are some core things that are true all the time. They're always there. And, that they're like the sun. I look out of the window today in January and it's cloudy and murky. And, in the last few days it's tried to snow and, it's been dreary, I suppose, typical January. But I know the sun is still there. I don't ever doubt that. And what I would love for you is for you to never doubt that your light, that the essence of who you really are, is always there. It's everlasting like the sun. Now, it gets covered over by the clouds. Now, the clouds in you are your thinking. Over the years that you've grown up, you have learned to think a particular way. Your experiences, the things you picked up from the people around you, the things you misunderstood about how life works, the things you maybe picked up off the internet if you're a younger person now. Luckily I didn't have that as well as everything else to learn from. And that becomes your clouds. And sometimes your clouds are big and black and stormy and horrible. And sometimes they're lighter. Have you ever done that thing where you lie on your back and just watch the clouds go by and look at the shapes of them? And you say to somebody, look at the shape of that. It looks like an elephant. And they're like, it doesn't look like an elephant. It looks like a tree. Because it's our creative genius that's making meaning out of those clouds. And that's what we do with the stuff inside our heads. So I'm just going to recap what I've said so far. At your essence, there is peace and love and light. There is the energy of life. There is calm. There is clarity. There is all the confidence and resilience that you could ever need. You don't need to go and get from a confidence or resilience workshop. Everything is there. And it is permanent, like the sun. Like as permanent as the sun can be for us in this lifetime. It's there all the time is maybe a better way to say it. And then your thinking covers it over. So now how do de-stressing tips fit into all of that? Well, they fit in because they're more thinking. So when you're feeling stressed, all that's happened is a great big thought cloud, or maybe many big thought clouds, have formed inside you, and they're just covering over the essence of who you are. Really covering it over. But underneath that, the sun is still there. The thing is that when you're trying to remember the de-stressing tips and you're trying to do them and you're trying to think about them, well, that's just putting more thought into the system. It's having you seek your well-being outside of you, and it isn't there. It's just not there. Now, when you see this in the moment, something really profound happens. And it is profound. But the first time it happened to me, when I saw it in the moment, I was flabbergasted. I'd received an unpleasant message from somebody who my fiancé and I receive a lot of unpleasant messages from, and I realised that I was not happy, that my thinking was not happy, that I was angry about the message. And I didn't reply because I saw in the moment that I needed some time out and I needed to pause. And that's all it took. And I did what I needed to do to look after me. And that was whatever occurred in the moment. As it happened, it was just cooking. I was cooking and I just concentrated on that, focused on the moment, prepared the meal, ate the meal, watched a bit of telly. And later on, it did make sense to reply to the message, but from a completely different state of mind, a much better, more helpful state of mind for me and my relationship with that person. So when you see it in the moment, when you realise in the moment, oh, I'm feeling stressed right now because I've got stressful thinking, because I'm caught up in something. Sometimes all it takes is that, just a breath, that's it. Feet on the floor, take a moment, take a breath, and reconnect to what's already inside you. Don't add any more noise into your system. It's noisy enough already without adding in de-stressing tips that only work temporarily anyway. The power of this is utterly mind-blowing, and if you would like to take the next step to try a little bit more of moving towards understanding this, then it's really simple to make a start. You can, of course, book a call with me, but that might be a step too far to start with. So why not download the 5 Simple Truths to take you closer to calm? It's a really cool little booklet. I've forgotten how many pages, but it's about 4 or 5 pages long. It's not very long. It's got very little reading, very little for you to do. But it does have 5 lovely audios that you can listen to while you're washing up if you like, or going for a walk. I don't want to give you anything extra to do because you've got enough to do. But give it a try. You'll find the link. Wherever you're watching this or listening to this, you will find the link around here somewhere, or hop along to my website, which is clairedownham.com. So I hope you found that helpful. I hope, you're understanding more and more why we don't need anything else to think about. We don't need those de-stressing tips because what you're looking for is already there inside you. It's not outside. Take care. Lots of love. Thank you so much for listening. There's nothing to do now but bring some awareness to how this is working out in your life. Listen regularly to experience longer and longer periods of calm. This has been the Calmcast with Claire Downham, Queen of Calm. Take care and keep listening.